Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My dear brothers, co founders of INI, thank you for your time yesterday listening to the audio, and thank you for everyone who made the comments. We introduced yesterday a company, and we said the vision really is for us to learn from it and see how it can also learn from INI. So today we'll talk about that. And one of the topic that we're gonna speak about today is market research. But before we talk about the market research, I'm just gonna come back over, the main problems that the company sets to solve. And it sets to solve three problems, as we have discussed yesterday. One is the problem of communication that we can see among the people who serve as house cleaners or maids. Oftentimes, because of lack of education, they cannot speak French, and we cannot even speak about English, which is becoming an international language. And Lomé, the capital city of Togo, is seeing more and more foreigners, but also Togolese from the diaspora. The second problem was lack of competence. It is an industry that is not well organized, and the people who serve as maids are not oftentimes educated or are not trained to be professionals at what they do. And the third problem was the lack of contracts. So we said that the company will try to solve these three problems by creating an enterprise which at the same time makes money and which also have some other features so that it is different from the competition. But all of these is sweet. In a company, oftentimes the direction it is set by the CEO or the directing team. So part of what we're going to be doing is at each moment or at each topic, we're going to see who within INI should be setting tones for this or that task. So, for example, what we had discussed yesterday should really be something that is done at the really high level and oftentimes by the CEO, or in our case, as of recently, we have appointed a committee that I'm proud to be part of to sort of really determine that direction. But that is high level, very important stuff. It really sets the tone for the company. We know what we're doing, we know where we want to go, and we kind of have these very macro level goals that we want to achieve. And then comes the market research. You have an idea you think is great, but you have to actually go into the marketplace to really see whether or not this idea is valid, for one, and two, whether or not it makes money. So what you see here is our the process that we use in order to come up with the validation, market validation. And again, you will see how everything's else tied up. The narrower, the more focused your vision is, or the mission, the easier is for you to really tackle the market that you want to go after. And of course, this will translate later into your marketing strategies that we will also discuss. So, what we'll see here is our market research, and you will see on the screen we gave ourselves a goal. A goal was to determine the size and the opportunities of the cleaning industry in Togo and the potential profitability of a new entrant into the industry. And on the rest is just to keep the data set organized. So of course you will see the name of the author, the launch date, launch year, and obviously you can see this is a living document. I started it more than a year ago, but obviously you are looking now at the latest version. That's why it says April 2018. Now, In our case, like yesterday, if you remember, we talked about the the target client that we want to go after are, Togolese from a certain class, Europeans living in Togo, the diaspora. So we have to go and find out whether or not those people exist in Togo. So the first thing we did is we were looking for data to find out whether or not we can have any macroeconomic data set on how many people live in Togo, what are their income levels, and even see how many villas there are in Togo. Because obviously, if you have a villa, you might be likely to hire cleaning professional versus if you're living in a one bedroom apartment. So this data that you're looking at here is very dirty right now. That's what we call dirty data because it's not cleaned. We took it straight from the Ministry of Economy and Finance website. Obviously, the major things that you see are the GDP, donc le produit, the GDP. I forgot what the French version is. The per capita GDP, the population, the GDP growth, inflation, household income, and etc. Like you might, this data is very important from a business perspective and also from the from any standpoint. Maybe at one point, whether with the FA or with SMD, the narrow or the focus will become about what exactly we're looking for. We have to go out and get this data. So we have all this data, and obviously you can see the data only runs in 2010. We also have in 2013, 14, and 15, 16, and since then we haven't have anything. So part of working with data is sometimes you have to make assumptions. So, but you make educated assumptions. So because we're in 2018, I have to figure out what was the probable population, probable household expenditure, probable household income in Togo in 2017. So we have to measure the growth between 2014 and 2015 and come up with some data set and then make those statistics. Now, I don't really want to get too technical, but it is really interesting when you're working with data because just like yesterday when we talked about the mission and the vision, it really provides you with a pathway of where you want to go. It's not always accurate, but it's more than likely versus just saying anything out of anywhere. But when it is backed by data, it really kind of provide you with the roadmap and you can always go back and correct some of the assumptions. But from this thing, what we did, the result is this. Again, our goal is to really see whether there is enough people that we call the target population. So the people of certain income, so the higher earners or the middle income earners, the expatriates who live in Togo, etc. So the results are here. What we did is we estimated that in the urban areas, and we also separated between all urban areas and Lome, and how many households there were, how many middle class households, and we also were able to figure out how many households have maids, right? And then also see what is the average pay that they give a maid so that we can figure out how much is the industry generating. And this was really interesting because we're able to figure out that in Lome alone, there is over 257,179 households, of which 13,888 can become our target market. So if we go to Lome tomorrow, let's say if we want to do door by door survey, we know that the maximum that we can reach is 13,888. This really gave us focus of the families that we want to go after. We have to figure out where they live, how their houses look like, so that we can go there and pitch our product. And then, and actually, another thing is we did a market research. So we hired a company. It cost us, I think, less than 500,000 CFA. They went to the quarters, les quartiers, comme la Caisse, Cité Oya, and they knocked the doors and they asked about how much those people pay their mates, for example, so that we can have an idea of the pricing as well. So all in all, doing all this, we're able to figure out that the industry, although it is now organized in Togo, it generates in Lome alone over $8 million a year. And that's a lot of money, right? So now we're figuring out that this business is a potentially good business. It already exists and it is generating money. uh, then it is an opportunity for us to actually maybe go and make money if we know how to go about it. So I think we're going to stop here for now. I think I was very technical. It might be boring, but I hope we make something out of it. So the lessons here is one. Yesterday, what we discussed was the macro level. It sets out the company for a vision, what exactly we want to accomplish, and where we see ourselves in the future. This is oftentimes done at the CEO level or at the DT level or at the technical, ad hoc committee, like the one we just put together. And once that define that, we have to do a market research. Now, this is between the FA, maybe not quiet, but given the role that our FA is playing, maybe they can help us with this, but also more of a SMD, because this, once you figure this out, it really prepare you for the later marketing that you're going to do, because you already identify your clients, where they live, and what they do. So I'm going to stop here today, and inshallah we shall continue tomorrow. Please feel free to comment, add, as this can be really helpful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.